There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
The marine audio category has literally exploded, and it's now expanded to decking out luxury pleasure crafts, pontoons, and of course, performance wake boats. Tonight, we invite 5 of the most prominent brands in marine audio to educate us on the latest offerings in the segment. CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM, the marine audio episode starts now. Hey, welcome back, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to our very first CMA Live presented by SiriusXM for our brand new season. In fact, it is season 3. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but don't think that we weren't sitting on our laurels. We were working really hard, and hopefully by now, and because you're tuning in, you figured out that we were hard at work creating a brand new platform, a new experience for you dealers to come in and enjoy the content and learn from the content that we generate. This, of course, is our CMA Live platform where we get brands together under a certain category, and tonight it's all about marine audio. We've got a stack lineup, some absolute killer guests that can really shed some light on the entire segment. And most importantly, we're really happy with this new platform because we get to get you the information that you want delivered in a timely fashion. Spring is around the corner. The boats are getting, coming out of their storage and it depends where you live, I suppose. But for us up here, certainly people are starting to think about marine audio. So what better theme to start with than marine audio indeed. So, strap in. We've got 5 guests that we're going to go through, starting with one that is a heavyweight. In fact, they're all heavyweights, but let's start with this one. Big name in the marine audio game, especially in the higher end stuff. Tons of innovations. I don't want to spoil it all, but I'd like to invite our very first guest of the evening, representing JL Audio. It's Mr. Rob Haynes, who's coming back, their product trainer. Hey, Rob, what's going on? Oh, we lost your audio here. Let's see if we can get your audio back.
There we go.
There you go. It helps when you unmute yourself.
It does. I thought I'd be unmuted coming out of the backstage area, but hey, we are all rusty. We haven't done this in a while.
Hey, we got to shake it off. Even myself. I got to get back into the groove of things. We took a good 2 months off, but there's no stopping now. The season is underway. You know what I mean? We had shows going on. The sun is coming out. The days are getting longer, and those jobs are coming in, and people are getting itchy to know about the new gear. So speaking of that, why don't we start with the big question? We got JL on. You guys are big in marine. What's new and exciting?
Well, some exciting new stuff. About a month ago during the Miami International Boat Show, we unveiled our new line of M6 Lux speakers. So we've taken our premium M6 line of coaxial marine speakers and given them a new sleek, low-profile mounting design. So a very elegant look. This really came from demand from some of our mega yacht customers in Europe, actually, where they wanted something that looked more like you would see in a high-end home audio system. So what our talented engineering team here in South Florida was able to do, the original line of M6 speakers, we have a patented tweeter bridge that allows the tweeters to essentially float above the main cone of the core speaker. So we redesigned the edge of M6 for the Lux series to have this integrated tweeter bridge, a very sleek, low-profile mounting design, and then magnets that surround the frame of the speaker with rubber pads. So when you attach this nice grill, it locks in place, it doesn't rattle, and you have a very low-profile design. So you've got that premium sound, but you have that elegant look as well that really takes the install to the next level. And while the idea came from some of these guys, you're building $100 million yacht, you want it to look sleek and sexy, but it doesn't have to stay just there. These will look great on ski boats, on pontoons, all marine speakers. They tend to stick out a bit. It's not like the car world where, it's in a door and hidden. We have to have a grill. We need something that's going to protect from kicks and things hitting it or rolling around on the boat. And yeah, it could be a bit of a nuisance at times when you're sitting, hitting a big speaker grill. So with the Lux design, we're able to have that low profile finish. It covers the entire M6 family. So the 6.5, 7.7, 8.8 inch coaxials, and then the 8-inch and the 10-inch IB subwoofers all are going to be coming soon with the elegant Lux Grill low profile look. They'll be available through Gemsen and our JL Audio dealers in Canada in the near future. And it's something for me I'm really excited about, because now we've got that awesome sound and then just that sexy look. And, on the right boat, it's going to look good.
I got to tell you, it's low profile. It's slick. I can kind of see the inspiration drawn from like higher end home installs. You know what I mean? With that low profile, it doesn't obtrude outside of the surface area being mounted on.
Put them up in the, like on the ceiling of a big deck on a yacht or in kind of like an enclosed area, they blend in beautifully with the ceiling. Even on the sides of the vessel, they just blend in. Gives you a little more space to work with when you're moving around. So great for smaller vessels where they, the normal grills may protrude out a little more and get in the way. So
sure,
no compromises to the sound and just a lot nicer look.
Well, thank you, Rob, for sharing with us that new detail.
Blurry there. There we go.
Yeah, the new detail of the new speakers that you just showed right there. Why don't we let the dealers know a little bit more about key features or maybe something unique why are they drawn to JL when it comes to mobile audio?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. Obviously it's always an honor to share an event like this with the talented faces and companies that are going to follow, and everyone does a great job of presenting not just their brand, but quality audio, and especially in the marine market. Everyone on tonight, they're all major players for a reason. I think for JL Audio, some of the things that we do that we feel, I don't want to say separates us or gives us the benefit, but what we feel provides the best product starts with our in-house engineering. Lucio Proni, the L from JL Audio, he's still our chief loudspeaker engineer, and we have a very talented team of over 16 or 17, it might even be more now, close to 20 speaker engineers in the building next door to me that design every JL Audio product from the ground up. And we build application or purpose-built solutions. So we don't just take a car speaker and marinize it. Everything from the voicing of the speaker, the marine environment is factored in. We have to deal with wind noise, the noise from the water, the motor. So we voice our marine speakers a little more aggressively, knowing that aggressiveness will cancel out with all of those noises. So you have a nice, smooth overall response. The extensive environmental testing we do in-house. We have a multitude of machines for environmental, moisture, was it fresh or salt, UV, heat, all of the stuff that could potentially damage or affect the performance of a speaker in the marine environment. It's tested heavily. And we live in South Florida here. Well, I don't. I'm in the office now, but we are in South Florida. Probably the worst environment for a speaker. So we also have the trusty old method. Let's just throw it up on the roof for 6 months. And
I've heard about these roof tests. Is that a real thing? I think Steve Therese had mentioned the roof test.
So before we, got to where we are now, that was the only way we could test. And now we've have all these nice new machines, but we still do put stuff up on the roof for months at a time and just let it sit. I think the other thing that benefits us is our on-site manufacturing. Every JL Audio marine speaker, whether it's a 6.5-inch M3 all the way up to the big bad M712 IB subwoofer, is built in our South Florida facility by a very, very talented team. Stringent quality control, not just on the raw speaker, but any assembled products like our ETX V3 pods. We take a lot of pride, and it's not just had the start with engineering, but it's the finished product that we build in our facility as well. And with all of that, we're really excited. And the on-site the engineering helps. We have loads of patents, like our transflective lighting that's found on the M6 series, which really took RGB lighting to the next level, with a beautiful smooth glow all the way around the cone, no hot spots, no seeing the lights through the cone. And when they're not on, it just looks like a regular speaker. So there's no like annoying sights when the speaker isn't on. And, I think, depending on the speaker you have with our transflective lighting, there's anywhere from 18 up to 40 LEDs around the top frame. So it glows bright and evenly, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, there's no argument. The transflective lighting is kind of top notch. Very, very nice indeed. All right, you got me excited about the brand. I'm sure dealers are excited. And, there are a lot of dealers that sell JL, but there are a lot that might be looking at it. So I'm going to speak on behalf of them. What are some of the top sellers that I might want to be aware of if I want to take on a line like JL?
For us, we've still seen M6, which is our top end line of speakers, really is still the benchmark for premium marine speakers. And that's been a phenomenal seller for us. Even the M3 series, I hate calling it entry level. It's our entry level. It's our lowest price speaker, but it's far from an entry level speaker. It's really M6 DNA, just kind of scaled back a bit to make it a little more affordable for someone that can't afford M6, but doesn't want a big compromise on the performance. I think, on top of that, the 8.8 inch M6 drivers, really, we've seen a ramp up lately. And it's not just about it's a louder speaker, it plays louder, but a better low frequency performance. If you don't have the room for a subwoofer in a vessel, you can get some really good mid bass, close to low end frequency extension from our 8.8 inch drivers. When we develop our speakers, we want to make sure, even if it's a larger speaker, the performance is going to match. So a larger tweeter with a different crossover network than the 7.7 has, a different tweeter and crossover network than the 6.5 inch has. So a lot of work goes into those to make sure that premium sound is going to be there. I think the other thing we've seen a lot of success with is our MVI line of amplifiers. They're marine amplifiers with built-in DSP technology. So now we can really take that premium marine audio system to the next level by tuning the vessels. And it gets interesting with DSP, especially when we get into the marine environment, because marine audio, it's all about having fun, right? You want everyone on the vessel to enjoy that experience. But it's also got to sound good in the captain's chair, because that's usually the person writing the check.
Who actually paid for the system, right? Exactly.
Yeah, right? So with our MVI line of amplifiers and what we call presets, you can actually have multiple tunes on the boat. So you can have a party tune where it's optimized for, multiple locations. You can have it where it's optimized for just the captain's chair. Maybe you're at a sandbar and you kill the speakers inside and have just the tower speakers playing, or, a dock mode. So it really opens up the flexibility for our retail partners to really let their customers not just have a great sounding system, but get everything out of it in varying listening situations.
And really adapting to the environment, right? Because every situation, every install is going to be different. And with those tools, you can pretty much optimize whichever configuration suits the budget of the customer.
Yeah, right? Without a doubt.
We're going to round this out. You've taken us for a wonderful ride here down JL Audio Marine. Pretend I'm a new dealer, okay? I've asked you the question, what are the hot sellers? What recommendation now? And now I'm asking you as an expert in marine audio. Yep. Let's just take away the brand for a second. I'm really keen on understanding or gaining some information from you here, Rob. What recommendation or advice do you have for me if I've been kind of hesitant, haven't really pulled the trigger on getting into marine audio?
Well, I think first of all, looking at NEMA or NMEA certification's a key. In the car audio world, we talk about MECP, and really NEMA is the marine standard for that. And it's a lot more than just installation practices. Marine requires different install techniques, how things are grounded, color coding. Then we get into the NEMA 2000 networking, as these boats are coming with data buses similar to CAN bus or LAN bus that we see in the car world. You have to know what you're working with. Where does a media master source unit go in line with the NEMA 2000 system so the MFD panel can control it? I think the other thing is, if you're looking into the MVI line of amps or any DSP amps on a boat, it's having the right tools to take measurements. And, we recently just launched our max measurement system, which gives you a, 5 mic array, and these mics can break out and be placed in different zones or seats throughout the vessel. And then you just plug your computer into the max measurement box. And on top of being able to adjust the MVI amplifier, you actually see the acoustical measurements. So you can see the frequency response and where you may need to cut or boost the EQ. You can see time-related issues to make sure speakers arrive at a listening location at the same time. So it allows you to really take that DSP tune that's already next level to the next level. And this is a really cool tool, professional grade measurement system we launched back in August. And a lot of people think about it just for car, but if you want to get into marine DSP tuning, this is going to be your friend.
Very, very nice. Taking DSP Marine to the next level and having the tools there in place for dealers to succeed at that level. That's our time. Thank you so much, Rob, for joining us and sharing.
Thanks for having me back again. I'm always honored when I'm allowed back.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? I think I have you slated for a couple more than just today. But anyhow, shout out to the JL crew for a great season launch on this marine product. Hey, if you're interested in Canada, make sure you check out our friends at Gemsen. They are the Canadian distributor. But you know what? Thanks again. And we look forward to having you back.
Yep. Thanks. Until next time.
Take care, Rob. All right, JL Audio, man, batting hard. DSP stuff going on, a new line of those Lux ultra thin speakers. Very, 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 very exciting stuff. All right, our next guest moving on is, wow, another heavyweight. I love our lineup today. Let me tell you, we have some fantastic guests tonight. Really great representation of marine audio. This one is a big one because, man, this is where they started. It's, of course, Wet Sounds. Wet Sounds, a brand that literally started uniquely in marine audio. Rumblings of expanding to different categories based on their success in marine audio. Maybe we can get some of that information from this gentleman. I'd like to welcome to this show, Mr. J.R. Stocks, who's the CEO of Wet Sounds. Hey, Mr. J.R., how are you?
Hey, Ben. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Well, thank you for making the time, sir. We do appreciate you having you on, and hopefully I can get some goodies out of you when it comes to Wet Sounds.
We're going to share a little bit of information. We don't want to let all the cats out of the bag. It's we got about a pretty exciting 30, 60 days ahead of us with new product offerings.
So timing is good. You know, we're here doing the marine audio sessions on CMA Networks, and of course, Wet Sounds is presenting as part of the campaign. Right out of the gate, I'm going to ask you because I'm excited. I need to know. You wouldn't even tell me in our little preamble. Can you tell us now anything new and exciting you want to share with us coming down the pipe from Wet Sounds?
Well, Ben, we've got a lot of new products coming out this year. We've built an amazing team in our product development and R&D department. Lee Teeples will be given the product training on the 28th. Lee and his team have done a remarkable job with Tim and Brett over the past couple of years to really get some great products that will be coming to market in 30 to 60 days. Perfect timing. You know, our busiest time of the year is that April-May time frame. We timed the launch. We have a new series, a step-up series of tower speaker that's coming to the market. Our current Rev 10
power speakers. Wow.
Our Rev 10 and 12 remain in the line, but we've got bigger and better things to come.
All right. Is there any specifics you'd like to share with us at this time about this range?
Well, you know, if a 10-inch isn't big enough, you definitely need a 12-inch, right? And, when you can build a 12-inch tower speaker with a low hang height that hangs even lower than the 10, the application's there, it works. These speakers sound amazing. The voicing process, I had the opportunity to sit through several of the voicing sessions. Brett Triola, who's one of the founding partners of the company, did the voicing. It is amazing. You know, Wet Sounds is known for their live concert sound. It's something very special, very unique.
You know, you're talking a little bit about the DNA, and I want to kind of get that out of you as well. Like, what are some of the key features and benefits that set Wet Sounds apart? Because I feel like Wet Sounds definitely has its own flavor. You know,
it's innovation. It all started with Tim White's idea and that there was something missing in the market. As an avid wakeboarder, there just wasn't anything on the market at the time that he could really appreciate, or experience his appreciation for music while he was behind the boat wakeboarding. Believe it or not, a lot of our employees are from that industry or from that actually in a recreational segment. If they're not in the marine wakeboard scene, they're coming from the power sports scene. So, you know, we use the product on a daily basis, and we listen to our customers. So, you know, that's probably what makes Wet Sounds most unique. We know because we are our customer.
Absolutely and absolutely. Now, I've heard it. I want to confirm it. Obviously these cans, horn drive, or whatever you want to call them, they're a big thing, right? When it comes to marine audio, obviously. Um, am I right to say that the origins of that design actually come from Wet Sounds?
So I hear. Tim will definitely let you know. I know he was on here last year and he shared that with you. I'm going to take a minute and reach down here. I can't help myself. There are a couple of things here at Wet Sounds that are special to me that I walk through and see, and it makes me feel really good about being a part of this company. This is the very first tower speaker.
Oh, okay. What year is that, would you say? What was that?
05, somewhere in that range, I guess.
Wow. All right.
I've been with the company about 4 years, so certainly before my time. But Tim saw a need, brought something to market, and the company has just matured. The product has matured right along the way with it. And these new tower speakers are amazing. The sound quality is a lot of times we're labeled the brand that is loud. Well, we are, but wait till you hear these speakers. It's not only the loudest on the market, one of the loudest on the market perhaps, but it is unbelievable in the voice and the sound quality.
Very cool. Okay, so you have my interest peaked. What are some of the top sellers? Because it's a pretty vast catalog. But if I had to put you on the spot and say, Ben, these few items, if you're going to get on board with us, are some that you just have to have because we know they move.
So, believe it or not, our amplifiers do extremely well. And that's because these horn-loaded compression drivers require substantial power to perform. They can handle large quantities of power and produce high SPL. These new towers are going to definitely give us a better mid-bass response than you typically get, even a bass response almost out of the 12-inch. A lot of times when we're thinking mobile audio, we're thinking marine, we think we have to have that dedicated sub. But, in the pro audio segment, the DJ type speakers, you're taking a 12-inch driver and a cabinet with a horn-loaded compression driver, and you're actually getting bass. And you're going to start to notice that with this new tower speaker that we have coming to market, a much improvement on our low end frequency response.
Really?
As far as other great sellers, of course, the amplifiers to drive the towers, and the towers are a remarkable seller. We have to look at our in-boat speakers. Our in-boat speakers are right there behind our towers, and then not in the marine segment per se, they are used in several marine applications, is the sound bar, and we are the originator of the sound bar. We hold, I think it's 9 patents, 10, and there's a couple more that are in process with patents on the sound bar. So we and I should have brought that with me. That is an amazing story about the mock-up prototype of that.
Oh man, did you really have that around? That would be nice to see.
We'll let Lee share that with you
Sure.
On the 28th.
Perfect. All right. So sound bars, full range speakers, tower speakers, and of course the amplifiers as well.
Yep.
So how do you feel Wet Sounds addresses the ever-changing needs? Because obviously marine audio, like the people didn't know they needed tower speakers until there were tower speakers, right? Because this is the evolution, and then sound bars and so on and so forth. So, now and moving forward, how is Wet Sounds addressing the needs of the modern marine audio customer?
It's interesting that you point that out, because there was another brilliant gentleman that came out with a product that nobody knew they needed, and that was the iPod, And, we came out with the tower speaker, then the sound bar. These guys are pretty brilliant. There's some exciting things coming. We have a lot of outdoor speakers that launched last year. We came out with our yacht style speaker with a low profile and actually a very shallow mounting depth for that segment last year as well. But how do we decide what to bring to market? These guys are very intelligent in reading the market, but it's really got to do with the team here, the whole team. And we're a pretty small team, but we're all on the water. I grew up competing in water skiing years back. Tim still is an avid wakeboarder and wake surfer. Our program director and one of our project managers both have wakeboard boats. They're out there every weekend. On the power sports side, I know we're talking about marine, but on the power sports side, everybody here is into power sports. I mean, we're in Texas.
Yeah. Steak, power sports. Makes sense.
Steak, power sports, marine. You got to be on the water.
You got to, yeah, absolutely. Last question before I can let you go. I'm asking everybody from a advice perspective, because we have established dealers, but we also have new dealers that are tuning in, curious about the marine audio, and that's why they're tuning in, listening to what everybody has to say. What recommendation would you have to a dealer who, for you, you might be like, what do you mean you don't sell marine? There are dealers that haven't got into it yet. So what advice would you have for them?
Marine's a unique segment. I would recommend, obviously, as Rob said, Nema and the education tracks that they offer. It is very different. That, I think, is what's most important, that the traditional mobile electronics guy understands how much different it is. In many ways, it's easier. It's a fun install. You're not upside down under a dash. You're not necessarily taking door panels off. It's fun, but it's also a consumer that tends to have a much higher discretionary income. We're building some big systems in the aftermarket. When times get tough, a lot of times we're still seeing people play that have that discretionary income. So I think, main things are understand the category and how it varies install wise. And then, from there, just don't be scared to dive in. No pun intended. It's a great business. It's not as seasonal as most people think. We're starting to see things come online. It's been a little bit slower up north this year with things taking off. But, I can tell you our business in the Pacific Northwest, it's unbelievable. They got a short season, but everybody enjoys it. It doesn't matter where you live in the country, whether it's a 4-month season, an 8-month season, almost all around season, almost all year round season, when you get down this far south. It's something to definitely dive into if you're not into already.
Expert advice, courtesy of Mr. JR, CEO of Wet Sounds. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time this evening to share with us your knowledge and giving us some news on some new product coming down the pipe from Wet Sounds. We look forward to our presentation with Lee and Grant a little bit later on during our marine audio session. So again, have a great night and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ben. Have a good evening.
Take care now. So that is Wet Sounds, distributed exclusively in Canada, of course, by our friends at Trends Electronics, which is a perfect segue because up next is our good buddy from Trends Electronics. But this time he's going to shift hats. He's going to put on another hat because this is a big introduction. New in Canada for Trends Electronics is Fusion Marine Audio. Let's bring on Grant McFatter, their National Sales Director. Mr. McFatter.
Ben, long time no see.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to connect with you and hear that there's movement at the Trends camp, and you're here this evening to talk about said movement. Fusion Marine Audio, new and exciting. Go, tell us all, how did this happen?
Well, what's new with Fusion Marine is everything for us because it's the first time we've had our hands on the product. So really exciting for us to get into the line because obviously the head unit side of things was one area where we were kind of lacking. I used to hate when I was a rep going into a lot of shops and we're selling this Wet Sounds tower speakers and amplifiers and everything else, and God damn it if they weren't putting it in a Fusion head unit somewhere down the road. So my experience with Fusion goes back a long way, when they were giving away green aliens, it's CES and stuff like that. So thank God that's long gone, and they're hardcore business people in the marine audio business. So for us, it's cool. Everything's new in the category. Head units was a big part of it. They've got a great lineup of amplifiers and speakers, tower speakers, a little dainty subwoofer. I'll show you a little later.
Well, the good thing, the advantage of Fusion Marine, it's got a long history, right? It's a New Zealand company, started out in car audio. I remember back in the heyday, those aliens, I'd given away so many of them at shows. But then there was a huge transition where they went all in on marine, and then they got acquired by Garmin, right? And I think that was probably a game-changing moment when it comes to, budget and development and all that stuff. And I'm sure you're going to talk to us about that. But, lots of new and exciting, especially from a trends perspective. It's a full line with a heavy focus on the diverse selection of source units that Fusion Marine offers. So let's talk about that. Why don't you give us a few key features, benefits, or key products that you want to talk about?
The guys that have been on before, they talked about the Nema 2000. That's critical, especially for this category. Fusion plays in a lot of bigger boat systems, and if you don't know what you're doing on there, you're asking for a lot of hurt. You're not talking about a $20,000 car. We're talking about multi-million-dollar boats. So you better know what you're doing. These guys are probably as far along or as advanced with the Nema network as anyone is. For those of you guys that are the dealers that are on there that don't know Nema, it's basically a plug-and-play communication standard for the marine audio instrumentation with vessels. So, this radio will interface with your, Ray Marine, your Garmin, your Furono chart plotter. So you've got to know what you're doing when you're messing around with $10,000, $12,000 chart plotters. So key part of anything that they do on the Apollo series is everything with Nema connectivity on it. So huge importance on that. As far as the head unit line goes, we've got a vast array. At Canadian retails, we go from a $269 retail price point up to $1,000, and there's probably about 12 models in between.
What, did you say $1,000 source unit for Marine?
Yeah, that's our most popular piece. The RA770 is the flagship piece, and that's the one that everyone wants. We got to forget about our own wallet sometimes. We're not dealing with Grant McFatter's wallet. We're dealing with actor boat owner guys.
I think every guest that we have on tonight will agree with that statement, Grant.
Yeah, absolutely.
We cannot be thinking and making decisions based on our wallet.
Yeah.
Right.
No, 100%. Absolutely. And again, you're dealing with a different level of customers, so your level of professionalism has to definitely kick it up a notch.
Very, very, very cool. This is new for you, as it is for us. But this is a great question. What if I'm going to dig into Fusion? What is it all about? What do I need to know? What do I need to order?
I think some of the unique stuff they bring to market is their multi-zones. They've got radios that do single zone, 2 zones, 3 zones, and then the flagship piece up to 4 zones of audio control. Really, really cool way they've done it with their Fusion Link app is to make it easy to use. We can you can group everything together, so you can have the cab, the bridge, the stateroom, the main deck, the main cabin, all linked together if you're doing party mode, or you can isolate each zone and have different things going on at the same time. It's more like a high-end home networking system. So, there's Ethernet cables we use, which, traditional car audio guys don't use that in car audio. So we use it in the boat business. So that's unique as far as the multi-zones and the capability of it and being able to isolate all. On the streaming of the audio side, because I don't know the last time I actually held a physical piece of media, whether it's a CD or even a thumb drive lately, everyone's streaming their music. So with their Wi-Fi network, they're using Apple AirPlay 2. Oh. So you've got a much higher resolution of good quality audio. And again, everyone on here is all about making the audio experience good, and no better way to do it rather than just doing Bluetooth or streaming it traditional methods.
I'm going to cut you off for 1 second, because I had a chance to take a look at the offering. One thing about these head units, or source units, whatever the right term is, Fusion's got quite the selection. I'm going to say much greater of a selection than anything I've seen from any other single brand, let's call it. They come in all different shapes and all different sizes. But what you're talking about right there is a message I really want to drive home, because the connectivity, whether it's the multi-zone you're talking about, Grant, but also, connectivity to, let's say, your phone. You mentioned AirPlay, Sirius XM for Marine, super critical. All Sirius XM ready units. What's that?
I said, don't forget our sponsor, Ricky Lima's on the call.
Oh, of course. Shout out to Ricky.
Sirius XM in there for sure.
But it is true, right? I mean, Marine is a big market for that. And these units are all, ready to go with that. And then, of course, there's a look and feel, because there's a certain elegant touch to the unit.
Yeah, I don't have the 770 here because we're sold out of them right now, but it's a full glass mirror finish on it, touch screen. It's absolutely gorgeous. The other thing that's cool is the depth of these. I don't know which way you can see.
Yeah, we can see not very deep.
Depth radio. So whether it's this guy here or even this guy, the SRX 400, which you would use on a smaller platform or even in a power sports application, they're super small. So, power sports, marine audio, Zodiac boats, anything like that, we have probably the biggest selection available for sure as far as head units go.
Yeah, that's what the message I wanted to focus on. But
and even this guy.
Oh yeah, you have to talk about this guy.
Yeah, this is the WB 670s. WB stands for white box. So this is actually the same as the RA 670 head unit, but it's a complete hideaway unit. So this is basically, you hide this away wherever you're going to install it. It ties into your Garmin chart plotter or your Raymarine chart plotter, whatever you're using, and you can control the audio right from your chart plotter. This gets buried away. So again, if you don't want to be cutting holes in a multi-million-dollar boat, you want to hide this away and control it from whatever's there in the first place.
Brilliant. Again, that interconnectivity is amazing. We have to mention this is a full line, right? So yes, obviously the source unit is super popular, great selection, but what else is part of the catalog?
Full array of speakers. I've got some of their signature 3 speakers here. This is their flagship speaker offering, so it comes in the beautiful white, gunmetal gray with the chrome grills on there, or stainless grills, I should say. And they also have, I don't have them here, but there's the signature 3 series with the full mesh, super ultra conservative look for, maybe the guys don't like the cross grills that we have here, but we have a super sleek, discreet, what I call old man grill.
Old man grill? What? There's people that like those grills. Why are you hating on those grills?
I know, come on. It's the wakeboard. I'm used to the wakeboarding scene, man. Everything's a little more aggressive, a little more industrial design. Guys have got long hairs and tattoos. They're not. They don't care about this. It's like.
Do you have any more product there? I definitely want you to show. There's 2 that I had really in mind. We want to talk about amplifiers real quick.
Yeah, so I got the Apollo series amp here, which is relatively new in their product offering. So there's 5 different models in here. They have an 8-channel, 8 by 150. If you bridge it, it's 4 by 580 watts. So really, really good power. Nice cosmetics. It's got a nice powder coat finish. It's got a little bit of, almost feels like a little bit of grit to it. Some unique things when it comes to mounting them. They actually give you a mounting bracket plate that you would mount to the wall of wherever the amplifier is going to go. There's 4 tabs on here. The amplifier's got 4 tabs on the back. It's a little hard to do when it's not mounted, but I'll try it. There we go. So now that thing's mounted to that bracket. So super slick. As far as an installer goes, you can mount the bracket. All your wiring connections are all done on Phoenix style connectors. So you can do all your hard wiring, do your mounting of the plate when you're tight spaces, and then you can just go back in, clip the amplifier on, plug in your modules, and you're done. And then all the tuning on that amplifier, there are no gain controls on it. There's no crossover settings on the amp itself. It's all done through the Fusion Link app. So one of the pet peeves that I know a lot of installers have is, the amp's underneath the cuddy. They got to go in, adjust the crossovers, adjust the gains, go out into the boat, check it. Is it loud enough? Is anything clipping? No, it's not. Okay, back in, adjust it. This one, you can set the amplifier in, go out to where you're going to be listening to it, pull out your app, tune it the way you want.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Really cool. They do DSP differently. It's almost like DSP for dummies because it's a really easy, you don't need a manual to figure it out. If you're doing a full Fusion system, head unit, amplifier, speakers in the DSP setting, you can select the model number of your speaker. They know exactly what the speaker is supposed to do. You select the environment, whether it's in an outdoor area, whether it's in the helm, whether it's in an indoor cabin area, it'll automatically do the EQ for you. So pretty cool.
Very user-friendly.
As far as that goes. And yeah, it is super user-friendly. Even a dumbass salesman like me can figure it out.
You sell yourself too short, Grant. I tell you.
I'm not smart. I'm not smart.
Well, you're good at what you do. You're giving us a taste of what the Fusion line is all about. Talk to me a little bit as a dealer now. You're dealing with Canadian Marine dealers. A lot of great lines out there, especially presenting tonight. What do I need to know if I'm thinking about Fusion? And what do I get started with?
I think whether it's Fusion or any other brand, if you want to get into marine audio, it's kind of like you treat your marine business like you treat your regular 12-volt business. You know, if you walk into a store and your product offering is one head unit and there's holes everywhere and you've got a pair of speakers here and there, it's not a great first impression to show someone.
It's certainly not me getting me excited as a customer anyhow.
No, you know, it
inspired.
wonders what's going on in the back, right? So for me, I've always been a preacher of, you know, having it on display, showing that everything you have available. We're big on display. So whether it's a tabletop, whether it's a full display board, you show someone one of our display boards, you're in the marine audio business. They walk into your store. They don't ask you, do you guys do marine? It's obvious. It's there. We've got the RGB lighting set up, got all the speakers, tower speakers, amplifiers, subwoofers set up. It's a first-class way to demo it. So just like you would treat if you're a hardcore 12-volt car audio guy, you want to get in the marine audio business, treat it the same way. You know, get serious with it. If you want to dabble in it, you'll have dabbling results. If you want to go hardcore, you know, you'll have big success. And one of the things I think we all love about marine audio, a small system, is $5,000.
Right. Ticket prices.
Wakeboard tower speakers and an amplifier. You're 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah, no, and that's the truth. This is the truth.
I deal with a lot of dealers across the country, and they all love daily systems coming in at $5,000 a piece. Well, marine, you start at $5,000.
Yeah, that's a deck and four.
Yeah,
quote unquote, right? Congratulations to you and to Trends for acquiring the distribution for Fusion. I think that's a super exciting line. It's a great brand to represent as well, with a rich history and a lot of innovations. Grant, of course, to get a hold of you, Trends Electronics, become a dealer. Get a hold of Grant and his team over at Trends.
I'm stoked, man. I saw what JR was talking about 2 years ago when I was down at their facility, and I've been keeping my mouth shut for 2 years. Now I can let the cat out of bag. Rev 12s.
Thanks so much, Grant.
On the 28th.
We'll be on the 28th. We're going to do a deep dive on. Yep, absolutely. All right, signing off. Thank you, Grant. Talk to you soon.
Best of luck. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Fusion now available in Canada through Trends Electronics. Thanks, Grant, for joining us. We got 2 more exciting brands before we round out the show, and every single one of these brands has so much to offer. So I'm going to do my best to continue kind of getting the dirt on what's going on this year and getting you guys the right information. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit of European flair. That's right. We're going to go to the world of Hertz Marine Audio, and their international technical marketing manager. I'd like to welcome back Mr. Ken Ward.
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Mr. Ward, how are you? Greetings. You're back from Italy.
Yeah, there was some kryptonite there, and I have this little bit of a green glow going on.
Dude, it's awesome. You look like so powerful. My normal level of intimidation is here. Tonight, you can't even see my hand. So I'm just going to stare at not at your eyes. No, but thank you, Ken. I know you've been traveling like crazy, and you're going everywhere, sharing the information that dealers need to know about when it comes to electromedia products, of course. But we cannot deny, Ken, that marine audio season is here. This is why we have gathered this evening. This is why the brands are here tonight. What is new and exciting from Hertz Marine?
We have a 12-month product launch calendar, and so we have new products coming out of the toaster pretty regularly. I think the last few things that we've introduced in our full marine line are amplifiers. I think we have a big, like a 1240 watt sub amplifier. We have a big 4-channel. And then one that I forgot about, we have a matching 1000 watt capable subwoofer amplifier to our 8-channel DSP amp with 9 process channels. And that's a new addition. So now you can have a completely DSP managed system with a matching sub amp.
Wow. I could have sworn that was not on that must be very recent, because that was not on the menu the last time we connected about this section.
Things, if you don't keep up,
seriously,
things will just happen. My
God, you got to stay on top of things. Okay, so multi-channel, big power. Big power is kind of the theme. Before we set the stage and go too deep into one product, maybe we could, or I should ask you the question: what makes Hertz Marine have that special flavor that kind of separates or really stands out from the marine audio? Because we've got some great product that we're talking about tonight. Hertz has got a signature of its own.
Well, I think there's a couple of things that stand out to me. And one of them is that there aren't very many marine suppliers that actually build the equipment to an OEM level of specification. And that's something that Hertz has been doing. And that's pretty important to us. A couple of things that Hertz has been known for before we entered the marine category years ago: high output, high efficiency, and off-axis performance. Now, you'll hear the story about high efficiency from multiple suppliers. We're not the only ones that talk about that. But the off-axis performance is something that a lot of companies don't talk about. And that's something that we learned from the car world. The way the speaker performs when it's in the display board pointing at you is really, really different than the way it performs when it's in the bulkhead or when it's above you. And so we already had techniques that we used in the speakers that we build in our factory for car audio use. And we used a lot of those techniques when we came up with our oversized speakers for marine.
That's not just innovation, that's being smart.
One of the things that I should point out is that a number of our 8-inch class speakers have a 1.4-inch tweeter with a really advanced crossover that asks the tweeter to play lower than the average. And most of our speakers, the tweeter will play about an octave lower than the competition. And what that means is that if the speaker is off axis and it's relying on the 8-inch cone to play those mid-range notes, they're not at full output. If you're relying on the tweeter to play those mid-range notes, then they are much, much louder at any angle. You just have to be able to handle the power. And that's something that we were very comfortable with our HTX towers and our HMX oversized coaxial.
Oh, very, very cool. Now you're dropping some model numbers here. I know people are taking notes. So talking about, main popular SKUs or signature pieces that every good Hertz dealer is doing well with. If I want to become a new dealer, what would be the Ken's list of, dude, this is what you got to have?
Well, the things that are really unique to marine compared to car and motorsport are the oversized bulkhead coaxial and the tower speaker. And those are the two things that I every time I talk to, and I know a lot of people in this business, and every time I talk to somebody that has tried those out, they've been really impressed with the mounting system for the towers. They've been really impressed with the sound from both the tower and the bulkhead. We do have some 2 levels of coax. We have the HMX, which has an 8-inch size and a 6.5. And then we have the HEX in a 6.5-inch size. That one has a paintable grill, and so it crosses over into power sports as well. But depending on the craft, if you might be painting the grills to match your boat as well.
They're very cool. So you're talking about the coaxials, both series being almost must-haves, right? And the tower speakers, of course, right? So how is, like, I want to hear how is Hertz Marine tending to or forecasting the needs and wants of the modern marine audio enthusiast or customer? Because, somewhat newer to the game, but has certainly dove in hard. I think there's a couple key innovations and directions that Hertz is going that I want to talk about.
Well, one of the things, and I just got back from 2 weeks at the headquarters in Italy. And one of the things that's really impressive is that there's a full engineering staff there in-house, not counting the engineers that are at the facilities in other parts of the world. So there are some very dedicated R&D assets in the marine world. We're one of the few suppliers that can go from our head unit to our signal cable to our DSP amplifier or our regular amplifiers, and then to our subwoofers and our various speakers. We actually can go end to end. And if you don't have a supplier like that, what you find is that you're often spending quite a bit of time sourcing all the different components so you can put your system together. And none of those are just throw-ins. None of those are, oh, somebody wanted to sell us this with a Hertz logo on it, I think we'll try it. Everything has our approach. Everything has a reason for being in our catalog.
Very, very cool. DSP. I got to ask the question. This is a question on its own, because there's very few brands that are, delving into DSP and marine. In fact, I'm going to be the first to admit I don't totally understand yet. That means I know a lot of other guys don't totally understand it yet. Can you help us understand DSP on a boat?
I am happy to. There's a lot of folks, especially people who are not experienced with DSP, who feel like its goal in a car is to create beautiful stereo imaging. And yeah, that's something that we can do with DSP. But one of the things that I've been teaching for the past 9 months or so is that the first thing to do with DSP is to manage cancellations that are caused by having different speakers around your cabin, whether it's a car cabin or a boat cabin. And if you have different speakers that are different distances away, you can cancel out a great deal of the power that your customer paid for. So we know that marine customers want to be able to get loud. A, because the boat can be loud all on its own, and B, because that's why they put a system in their boat, so they can turn it up. So if you lose 3 dB worth of output because you didn't manage your cancellations, you wasted half the power your customer paid for. And cancellations can easily cause more than 3 dB of output loss. So with our HMD8 DSP amplifier, it has a whole different software application for controlling it than any of our other branded products. And it gives you tools for managing phase cancellation that are different than what we default to in a car. And so that's a big part of using that product. It also supports multiple zones. You can have a pass-through subwoofer that feeds bass to the bow and the stern and the towers, and then have 3 different tuning zones so that you can affect the sound of the towers, the sound of the bow, and the sound in the stern all on your own. So.
Pretty brilliant stuff. I know we're going to do a deeper dive on this during our session together, and obviously I'd like to see some diagrams so to better understand. But the point I wanted to make is that Hertz Marine, pretty serious stuff. And you want to get advanced, you want to optimize your system with dealing with cancellation like Ken's talking about. This is the kind of brand that has that stuff, not only the equipment, the knowledge, but also the trainer to support you to make sure that you get that right. I'm going to ask you to take off your Hertz hat for 1 second. Okay, I just want you to be Ken. And I want you to tell me, you've heard what the other answers have been, or the suggestions. What recommendation can you add to that now for dealers that are curious about getting into marine audio?
Well, I think it's been mentioned a couple of times that it is a different animal than car. And so getting educated, learning what is okay in a boat. As I recall, there are some different regulations in Canada than there are in the US. So you want to make sure that you're clear that you're following the rules. One of the things that I talk about with DSP for cars that is true for marine audio and doubly true for marine DSP audio. If you're going to spend the time to learn this category and you're going to research and commit to the professionalism in this category, you got to make sure you have enough margin in it to pay for that. You got to make sure you're not working with anybody that's giving you, auto parts department margins, because the person at the counter in the parts department doesn't need to know nearly as much as we need to know to be successful on our customers' behalf.
So you're suggesting there's some benefits marginally?
Something like that.
We'll read between the lines. We'll read between the lines. Ken, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening, talking about Hertz audio, marine stuff, hinting at some DSP guys. Make sure you tune into our session where we go one-on-one with Ken. We're going to dive deeper into all things Hertz Marine a little bit later during our marine audio sessions. Ken, thank you so much.
Thanks,
enjoy your evening. We'll see you soon. We have made it, guys. Thanks for hanging with us to the very end, because our very end is yes, yet again, another heavy hitter in the marine audio business. We're really, really happy and blessed to be able to connect with them through their studio. Yes, they got a big fancy studio too. Of course, we're talking about Kicker and Kicker Marine, something they take very seriously. We're going to see just how serious when I invite our next guest, Mr. Bart Deal, who's the VP of Product Strategy and OEM, as well as Mr. Phil White, who's the Unit Director for Marine Audio Systems at Kicker. Gentlemen, thank you for hanging in there, and we're saving you the best for the end. Is that all right? Can I say that?
Thanks for having us, Ben. You bet.
So, did I get this right? Do I have the Marine guys on with me tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
You are the guys. You are the guys that are serious about marine.
He is.
He's the hardcore Marine guy.
Oh, well, thank you so much for
I
taking
slept at a
time.
Holiday Inn Express last night.
We're going to do a deep dive. You need to bring your scuba gear.
Scuba gear. Yes, sir. I like how this has started. Let's get right into it. The folks are waiting. We always want to get this one out of the way first because everybody's just like, I just want to know what's new. What can we talk about that is new from Kicker Marine for this season?
I think probably we're close enough to being ready. We can talk about our new KMXL speakers.
What are these?
These are an evolutionary product. And we've had tremendous success with our tower speakers, with the KMTC and KMFC speakers. And we wanted to bring that kind of efficiency and clarity, power handling, sensitivity to a boat speaker that you can just put in the boat. And so we let KMTC and KMFC technology trickle down into this product. The KMXL comes in two different sizes, in a 6.5 and an 8. We've got both of those here. These utilize a pretty slick neodymium motor structure for lightweight, and they're also surprisingly shallow. We've gone in and incorporated a compression-driven horn. This takes advantage of Kicker's unique proprietary horn geometry for super good smooth response, both up close and also at a distance. They do have the nice quick connect for all the RGB lighting and all of the speaker connections for the high frequency and low frequency. Just a well thought out design with a host of super duper waterproof, weather resistant features.
I'm going to make some comments here because this is pretty exciting stuff. I love the look of them, by the way. They're very unique looking out of the gate. Bonus points for that signature Kicker Marine teal gasket on the underside that nobody will ever see, but that is super cool. So I have to make note of that. Very signature.
It's very functional as well. Our team takes great pains to make sure that it's environment ready.
And I mean, I didn't even doubt that for a second, but yes, let's absolutely talk about that because I've spoken with Kip and with Joe Gross, and we've gone through this motion that we get it. Everything is hardcore. Everything is overbuilt. So we would expect no less from these Marine speakers. How do you feel? Like I've got the Marine guys. Let's back up. Let's go 10,000 feet a little bit because I want our listeners to understand also the position from Kicker in the Marine category. How do you feel Kicker addresses the needs and the wants, right? And the wants of the modern Marine audio customer? Because Kicker's been in the Marine audio business for a minute now.
We bring a real thorough to the market. Mm-hmm. Speakers, amplifiers, subwoofers, tower speakers, head units. We've got a super broad line. Honestly, it doesn't stop there even. We've got our installation accessories that we brought out in the last 2 years. We've actually gone in, we're utilizing an ignition protected waterproof fuse. Our distribution block is designed to accommodate those fuses. As members of the American Boat and Yacht Council and the National Marine Manufacturers Association, we think safety is really important for the consumer. We want to see our dealers and our DIY customers doing the kind of installs that they can count on us to give them the gear that's not going to cause them a problem in the event of a fuel leak. It's about safety, man.
Yeah, I mentioned the word overbuilt, and you're mentioning the word safety, and it's a complete line. You're talking about little details in a fuse block, but I just want to be clear. Kicker Marine provides all the accessories A to Z. You mentioned source units, full range speakers, tower speakers, amplifiers, subwoofers, and even accessories for installation purposes. Correct. Very, very nice.
Right.
If you looked at your sales, right? I'm a dealer, and you got my interest. Maybe I'm not a Kicker car audio dealer, but all of a sudden this Marine stuff is looking interesting for me. What are some of the top sellers you want to highlight here that dealers need to know about?
Man, absolutely our tower speakers, especially our big ones, our KMTC and KMFC 9 and 11, like Bart's bringing around over here. This goes back to, total ground up engineering concepts. We've got real engineers, real acoustic engineers that design this. We're taking advantage of some incredible acoustic engineering that goes into the horn, the crossover, the way these things mount. They're designed to be efficient. On our 11-inch, which is over here out of screen, we're looking at 93 dB. The 9-inch is 92 dB. They're also good for 300 watts RMS power handling all day long, full range. It's just fantastic technology that we believe, we get told in reviews and social media commentary that this product is the flagship tower speaker.
And please tell me they light up.
They do light up.
Of course they do. What am I thinking? Of course they light up. It's a marine product we're talking about over here. Okay, so we covered a couple of new products. I mean, those tower speakers look absolutely awesome. I really want for dealers to understand that when you're signing up with Kicker, they're taking care of you top to bottom. You know what I mean? And their products, you guys test everything with one another, so everything's meant to work together. That's obviously an added benefit. If I had to, when it comes to the ever evolving customer in marine, earlier I asked a couple other guests, years ago there was no, tower speakers and whatnot. Do you feel that this is a market that is continuing to grow?
Absolutely.
No, absolutely, for sure.
It's evolving every day, and more innovations from the boat industry themselves and the marine industry is coming to play and giving us greater opportunities with which to provide the entertainment. Because remember, this is something nobody needs. It's a pure entertainment. So is a boat. They don't need a boat. They buy a boat to go out and spend the weekend out on the water. And so it's got to be the full meal deal, the complete package of entertainment. And it's got to work. It's got to survive. It's got to be safe. But it's got to also perform to the max, because that's what we're all about.
100%. So that's a great segue to my last and final question. What advice do you have to the new dealer that wants to get into marine? Now that you mentioned that it's a market that's growing, that's continuing to grow, what recommendation or advice do you have to give to them?
I want to tackle this two ways. I would speak to the dealer and say, educate yourself on some of the technical aspects of installing in a boat. Certainly you're going to be grounded in mobile audio installation practices, but marine is somewhat different. We're real conversant with the NMMA, the ABYC. For your Canadian dealers, the Canadian Coast Guard is a benchmark-based operation, but then the fun thing is Transport Canada publishes TP 1332, which is a standards publication for design and manufacture of small watercraft. That's available online, and your guys can go look at TP 1332 and get a feel for how to wire stuff right, like a boat manufacturer would wire it. We sell heavily into the manufacturing market here domestically, and our stuff has to work there from a legal standpoint with the Coast Guard, and if it's got to do that, we feel like we need that for our DIY customer as well. The other thing I would let Bart talk to is our training resources, because we've got a deep training department with a lot of resources.
Yeah, we've got a top-notch group of guys that spend day in and day out creating training videos and working hard to impart that information. And on our YouTube page on Kicker on YouTube, if you go onto it and you do a search for Kicker Marine best practices, we even have a video for that new dealer getting into the marine world about the best practices, and it does go over the aspects of correct wiring in a boat, the correct manipulation of the product in the boat, and again, how to be safe and comply with regulations that as a aftermarket aspect, they don't necessarily have to, but because we are in the OEM end of the world, everything that we do is founded there, and then it finds its way into the aftermarket. We want our retailers to emulate that same type of behavior. So we're training them how to do that. And our team is top team.
So get the right information, make sure you have the right support. And that certainly sounds like something that Kicker can provide unlimited supply of.
That's right.
I said.
Absolutely.
Well, and with our partnering with Gemsen, they're right there too to help answer any of the questions that their dealer base all throughout Canada may have.
Awesome. So, I mean, if you're US tuning in, you know where to find Kicker. They're easy to find. If you're Canadian tuning in, make sure you get a hold of the folks at Gemsen, as they are the distributor for Kicker and Kicker Marine products up in Canada. Mr. Phil, Mr. Bart, thank you so much for taking the time with us this evening. Happy to have you on the show. Got the experts. Not that Kip isn't an expert. I'm not insulting anybody, but, happy to have you guys. Happy to have you guys. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you.
You too.
there you have it, guys. Wrapping it up for this marine audio episode. This was fun. Nice to be back in the chair. Nice to talk to these premier brands and get from them what's going on, get their advice. Hopefully you guys can benefit from that. Want to remind you that this marine audio theme is going to continue, because right now, tomorrow, in fact, we start with our marine audio sessions. It goes right through until April 6th. And every day we're going to be going one-on-one, focusing on one brand. That's right, one brand per day. No noise. You get to learn everything you need to know about each brand, only about marine audio. And then after we're done with that theme, there'll be another theme, and so on and so forth. So I want to remind you to check out our new website, cmanetworks.com. That's where you're going to find all the information. That's where you're going to check out the schedule to know what's going on. And while you're there, try out all our search options to get the content that you need most. That's it. Wow, first one done. So many more to go. Want to thank all our guests for coming on tonight. I want to thank SiriusXM for continuing to support us through this development of our CMA Networks platform. On that note, this is CMA Live, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, we connect.